Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be kinda different. I'm going to be talking about words and phrases that are often misused in the K-pop community. A lot of these words are just tossed around in a conversation without K-pop fans actually acknowledging the meaning behind them, and so they are constantly used in the wrong context. Okay, so let's start. Out of all the ones in the video, the word overrated is definitely misused the most. A fan of a more popular group can't praise their faves for a single thing without K-poppies getting mad and instantly calling the group overrated. So factually speaking, the word itself comes from the stem overrate, which means to have a higher opinion of someone or something than is deserved. Keyword, deserved. Therefore, just because you personally don't vibe with the group or don't like their music does not automatically make that said group any less deserving of their success and popularity, especially since everyone in this industry work their asses off every single day. Not everything that is popular should automatically be seen as overrated. Yes, maybe overhyped at times, but not overrated. It's become such a norm to use this word when in reality certain groups are actually popular for a reason. It doesn't really matter to me when a person loosely uses the term to say, for example, whether a song is a bop or a flop, but I've genuinely seen people say that a comeback or a song is a quote-unquote flop only because they didn't like it personally, and yet the song itself did really well in the charts. Like what? Make it make sense. A song is a flop when absolutely no one cares about it, so it goes unnoticed and doesn't even smell the charts. Only then is it a flop. Got that, Susan? As soon as someone says that they personally don't like a certain group's music or any type of constructive criticism is given, fans of that group legit destroy them and are quick to call that person a hater when a lot of the time that isn't the case. Not being a fan of a group does not automatically make a person a hater, which is something K-pop fans can't seem to wrap their heads around. Unless a person is quite clearly being flat out rude or saying nasty comments towards a group, then they are not a hater. And also, a nasty comment isn't when someone says that they don't really like X group's music, because for the love of God, that's just a preference. People always love to call their fave well-rounded when most of the time they actually aren't. A well-rounded idol can not only sing, rap and dance, but actually do it well and are good at all three. There are also other qualities apart from those three, for example stage presence, personality, visuals and many more, that should be taken into account, since whether you like it or not, a K-pop idol in the industry is deemed as more than just a person that makes music. They're supposed to be the whole package. Examples of well-rounded idols that I can think of from the top of my head are Jungkook, Irene, Han, and Jennie. Many people use the term well-rounded to describe idols who aren't actually strong at all of the three main areas, or are strong at perhaps singing and dancing, but have rapped once in like a variety show for fun. And to be honest, idols don't have to be strong at all of them, so K-poppies need to stop calling certain idols well-rounded when they aren't, and it's okay that they're not. A quote-unquote good vocalist is not one who can hit the highest notes out there or perhaps has a really unique vocal tone. There are so many idols who are actually really good vocalists but have a baritone voice or a generally lower vocal register with a more richer tone, who don't get recognition or are called a bad vocalist purely because for K-poppies a good vocalist is when an idol belts out a really high note. Also, as a side reference, shouting or forcing out a really high note does not make an idol a good vocalist. Sometimes I can not only see but feel the strain in some of their voices through the screen. Like, just because you can hit a note does not mean you should. The term mistreated is used so loosely to the point that groups and idols that have actually been mistreated just slip under the radar. Some of y'all need to learn the difference between mistreated and mismanaged, because the so-called evidences y'all use to prove that an idol is mistreated is 90% of the time a result of mismanagement. Synonyms of mistreatment are far more severe than ones of mismanagement, and most of the time a group or idol will fall into the mismanaged category. Your bias not getting as many lines or screen time as another member is not mistreatment. A group not having a lot of comebacks or promotions is not mistreatment. The word itself is glorified among amongst K-pop stans. It's become some kind of a competition to see which member in a group is the most quote unquote mistreated. It's as if you'll actually want your faves to be mistreated. It's disgusting. Some of y'all have this tendency to victimize idols, and it's honestly so harmful to the idol or group. It needs to stop. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Not liking a song does not mean that the said song is just noise. People have different musical tastes. Respect them without instantly calling a song you don't like noise. All I have to say is that a group not having as much popularity or success in the West as opposed to in Korea does not make a group underrated. Like I've seen people call 17 underrated. Legit, what do you mean? They're a million seller group who have a very large fan base both domestically and internationally. They are not underrated. Why the hell do K-popers take a group's popularity in the West as a means to measure a group's overall success? The world and music industry does not and should not revolve around the West, or more specifically America. Okay, this is gonna be a long point. The word westernized started to be used predominantly when BTS initially gained a lot of popularity in the West, and from then on K-poppies have started to call them, and other groups as well as K-pop as a whole, quote unquote westernized. The definition of westernization is basically a process whereby societies come under or adopt Western culture. Now, taking that definition, K-pop has actually been westernized right from the very start. Korean musicians drew stylistically from Europop and American pop, and incorporated genres like hip hop and EDM into their music. Idols wouldn't have constantly talked about how they draw inspiration and were influenced by American artists, so K-pop did not suddenly become westernized just because of its rise in popularity. It's always been adopting American and European styles and culture, incorporating them into the music from the beginning, and honestly calling K-pop westernized only now is almost being ignorant of its history. This is also a really long point, so hold on to your wigs. Personally, I think there's two sides to this. The word privilege is constantly used to downplay a group's success or achievements, and I'm honestly so tired of hearing it. The fact that a group has privilege isn't the only factor that plays a part in their accomplishments. Privilege in this industry undoubtedly exists, but that does not mean that a group, say from the big three, didn't work as hard as any other group during their trainee days or after their debut. It's as if you'll think that a group from the big three can just breathe and they'll be the biggest group in the world, when that's not true. However, as I've said before, privilege does exist, and anyone denying it are honestly just lying to themselves. Privilege doesn't, however, necessarily mean that a group is 100% going to be popular and really successful. Just that they've had an initial boost or advantage in putting their name out there and being recognized without having to claw their way up to even get anyone's attention. I swear to God, when people say groups such as iKON and Day6 aren't as popular, so big three privilege doesn't exist, it annoys me, because ultimately privilege does not hand a group success on a plate. Lastly, you'll love to pick and choose what groups you wanna admit have privilege. Like absolutely everyone jumped on the bandwagon TXT hate train, calling them privileged every 5 seconds, but none of y'all wanna admit that big three privilege exists, and that's the T. That's all from me, I guess. Subscribe or I'll hunt you down. Just kidding, LMAO. I'll see y'all in my next video. Stay happy and safe. Bye.